We're here to talk about Shai-Hulud. Unfortunately, we have to talk about the active NPM software supply chain attack and not those really cool sandworms from Dune. Today, December 2nd, 2025, we are seeing a second active attack using a similar worm mechanism that utilizes compromised GitHub repositories and has a self-propagating worm. This is called Shai-Hulud or Shai-Hulud 2.0, the second coming, as it's referred to. This worm builds on an earlier attack that happened in September of 2025. This worm is a little bit different and more malicious. We're going to talk today about what this is and how it works, and give you two actions to take. One action to take today and one action to take tomorrow to better prepare yourself for future types of attacks. I encourage you to reference a couple of really useful blog postings on this that get into the technical details of this. One is from GitGuardian and one is from GitLab, and I'll post those links associated with this video in the comments. Basically, the way this worm works is, first of all, they get a foothold through some sort of compromise into any developer machine. Once they've done that, they utilize those developers' credentials to push updates into Git repositories. They compromise that, and they utilize what are called lifecycle scripts that run in the developers' machines as part of a normal everyday occurrence to make changes to the developer environment, to package things up, to transform files, etc., to get them ready for publishing into Git environment or to process them after they've been pulled down from that environment. Those scripts run as the developer locally, and this worm utilizes that to download an obfuscated payload and get itself set up in the environment to propagate by looking for additional credentials such as tokens or access to Git, AWS, those types of environments, to then publish itself into those environments for further propagation, as well as to look and extract and exfiltrate data from the user's environment. So it can be pretty damaging. The interesting bit about this is that this has a so-called dead man switch, where if the malware is unable to connect to its connected repositories for publishing data, both in Git and in NPM, then it will turn into this destructive mode where basically it erases all local files on a user's device. So this can be pretty bad. Fortunately, there are indicators of compromise. There are tools that are available for detecting and eradicating this. And I encourage you to look at those resources I mentioned to get those. That's your action for today. Find out, is your environment at risk and under active attack? And B, remediate. Tomorrow, there's a couple of things you need to do. First of all, this is not going to be the last type of active supply chain attack. So you need to seriously look at the resiliency of your environment. And number one, as much as possible, institute multi-factor authentication, some sort of human-in-the-loop check to prevent this type of rampant publication propagation in your environments. To the same degree, you need to have a serious table talk exercise and look at how are your CI/CD pipelines or automated systems that have permissions to write into your production environments or your repositories. How do those things work? How can you build in either some combination of allow listing or humans in the loop, or some sort of restricted access capabilities, authorizations? You've got to put this in place because there will be additional attacks around this. You need to build some resiliency into your systems. Third is you've got to acknowledge that this type of destructive attack is going to lead to the potential loss of an individual workstation. That has to be acceptable to you. This is no different from a developer spills a glass of coffee, a glass of water onto their machine, and the machine is dead because all this the boards get shorted out. You absolutely need to have an environment where everything that people are doing is going to be synced up to a cloud environment. That's how I work. That's how a lot of people I know work, where if my device blows up or if I spill a cup of coffee on it, that's a bad day. I don't lose any data, right? Everything, I can go to a backup machine or a different machine. I can get that machine onboarded, and a couple hours later, we're back in business. Your developers need to have the same type of environment where, and your end users for that matter too, if any individual machine gets compromised in any way or lost or stolen or destroyed, it's not a big deal. So those are recommendations for you to follow. This is a serious attack that's going on, and I think it's going to be just the first of many types of things where we're seeing this type of API access or compromise of devices that utilize access that is granted to either the user or the automated systems. Happy to talk about this further and about ways in which we can help improve your environment. Reach out. Thank you. Have a good day.